I don't belong. This is the first thing that popped in my mind when I arrived to the United States. New language, new country, new culture. I felt like an outsider, not because the people made me feel that way, but because I chose to believe it myself. Back home, everything was familiar. The laugh, the jokes, the way the people expressed themselves. It all made sense to me. But here, everything is different. Conversations move so fast. People laugh at things that I didn't understand. And every time that I opened my mouth to speak English, I felt more and more like I didn't belong. So I stayed quiet. I listened, and instead of speaking, I convinced myself that it's better to be silent than making mistakes. But by that, I was building walls instead of bridges. Then I started to understand that language is not only about the grammar and vocabulary, it's about something much deeper than that. So let me explain why language barrier matters for both individuals and society. Language is not only about words, it's about how we connect, how we share ideas, how we build relationships. When we struggle with language, we don't only lose connections, we lose confidence, opportunities, and sense of belonging. Many people are getting judged because of their accent or their grammar or the language. Some believe if someone doesn't speak perfectly, they're not intelligent. And people often left out conversations, job opportunities, and social groups because of language differences. According to the APA, what is the American Psychological Association, language barrier often causes stress and isolation, and that can make the immigrants and international students feel anxious, lonely, and excluded from everyday life. People fear of making mistakes, so they stay quiet. When we don't speak, we feel alone and disconnected. And instead of using language as a tool for connection, we use it to build walls of silence. I experienced that myself. I had ideas to share, but I was too afraid of saying them. I wanted to be a part of conversations, but I held back. And every time that I chose silence over speaking, I felt more and more like I didn't belong. So why is this a big problem? Why do so many people like me feel afraid to speak? The answer is not only language, it's about something deeper than that. It's prejudice and fear. So there are two main reasons why language becomes a barrier, and it's prejudice and fear. Some think if someone speaks differently, they are less capable. And there is a bias against non-native speakers in school, workplace, and daily life. And instead of using language as a tool for connection, many see it as a test that must pass perfectly. A study published from Harvard Business Review in 2017 said that people often judge speakers with foreign accents and see them as less competent, even if that's not true. This bias has affected interviews, teamwork, and leadership roles. Many people, including myself, feel afraid of sounding wrong or being laughed at. We believe that we need a perfect grammar before we can speak. And silence feels safe for us, but in reality, it stops us from improving and making connections. A 2015 study from Language Learning Journal said that language anxiety, the fear of speaking a second language, proves that it prevents us from practicing and growing. But here is the truth. Language is not about perfection, it's about connection. So how do we change this? How do we use language as a bridge instead of letting it become a wall? The good news is, we all have the power to make the difference, both as individuals and as a society. As a society, we can accept accents and different ways of speaking. Encourage people to communicate, even if it's not perfect. Create inclusive spaces where everyone feels welcome. And as individuals, speak, even if it's not perfect. Take mistakes as a part of the learning journey. And focus on the message, not just the grammar. For me, the turning point is when I joined the student clubs. At first, I was nervous. I hesitated before I spoke. But little by little, I started to realize that people are not judging me. They're listening to me. They wanted to understand me. And the more I spoke, the more confident I became. And that's when I stopped focusing on perfection and I started focusing on connection. And everything changed. And that takes me to the most important part of my journey, Once, I believed that I didn't belong, that my voice didn't matter. But I was wrong. Because when I spoke, I found confidence, I found connection, I found purpose. And if I faced the fear, learned the language, and spoke in front of others, I truly believe that you can too. Thank you.